The pub was called the Victoria, so I guess we were in England, late 20th century. It was a squat, pale brick square on the western edge of the estate, as if it had made it a break for civilization before its foundations set, and this was as far as it got. Inside were the usual fixtures and fittings of a depressed English pub. Fake red velvet seats with the stuffing slashed into view, indeterminate wood panelling with the shine rubbed off in the centres, and bastards. The bastards were in the same condition as the seats and the wood, socio-economically. Fat landlord in a pair of black M&S trousers and an open-neck white shirt with the sleeves rolled up above the elbows to show off his tattoos, some homemade cut here ones round his wrist, and left and right across his knuckles. His shirt was skin tight over his rotundo gut, and I knew he had a moustache even before I looked. Probably an old copper trying to retain some authority in civilian life. Definite fascist. His wife, just by chance, was even fatter. Dressed in a kind of sewn-up floral pattern throw-over with the curtain rings thoughtfully removed for that evening look. Except it was more like that 11th hour look. A telltale DIY perm bubbled out of her orange face, making her look like a cross between Harpo Marx and a can of Fanta. The token barmaid tart wore something little and tight and a stupid smile. She had her own home perm piled on top of her head, so it looked like she had a bunch of flowers growing out of her scalp. Good fertile manure for the roots, I'd say. What else was there? What else can you think of? It was there. The clientele matched the aspirations of the pub. Mostly older, unemployed men who would never work legally again, sitting or standing around a bar. Red skin and X-haircuts, white socks and black loafers, Fred Perry t-shirts with pointless collars to make them qualify for smart, loud voices and London boy manners. One properly old man sat stunned over his pint at a table, staring at nothing and moving his gums to some ancient rhythm of his own. There were one or two women, genetically speaking, in the room, women way past their fuck-by date and so far over the hill they were just halfway up the next one. The younger men were just unshriveled and unconvicted versions of the older ones. Nothing's in waiting, waiting for nothing. Have I died and gone to Bournemouth? No, Dan said. They're alive. How do they know? We moved from the door to the bar and ordered. I wanted Guinness for the calories and because the colour went with my soul, and Dan had pills because it was easy to remember after 23 of them. I looked around the pub as the drinks came. So they are alive, but why? Why not? Didn't someone say that the question should never be why not, but always why? Why? I don't know. Why not? Our little exchange pleased us, and this wavelet of smugness washed us gently over to some seats in the corner. I didn't like sitting with my back to a room because I'd suspected I'd been Wild Bill Hickok in a previous life. Nobody's ever just a cleaner or a plumber in a past life, are they? You're always Cleopatra or Kubla Khan or someone. Never a slave, never a grunt. We sipped. I was in a bad mood because the pub was always the same as the last time. I was privately jealous of Daniel for having the courage to get so stoned that he couldn't remember the last time, thus avoiding constant disappointment. I suppose you think you're alive too. Where there's life, there's hope. You fishy Christian twat. Don't you know the story of Pandora's box? Yes, the gods put all the evils in the world and told her not to look. So she looked. Who wouldn't? So she looks and all the evils in the world come flying out. And do you know what the last and greatest evil to come out was? Yes, hope. Hope! And hope guarantees the continuance of suffering because people are always willing to suffer a bit more because they think things will get better. That's why soap operas never end. The meek and all that shit. You're really a Christian, you know, reading Plato and all that stuff. Jesus got half of it from him. I know. I'd momentarily covered everything I usually said on this subject, so I rolled a cigarette. Our conversation might have become a bit vague after that. Funny first name, isn't it, don't you think? What? Lord. It wasn't his first name, it was his middle name. What? Byron. Alfred Lord Byron. Wasn't it Tennyson? Or was he named after Byron? Tennyson Williams, you mean? There are gaps in this drivelog you'll have to imagine for yourselves, otherwise it looked like Celine wrote it. I wrote to the William Burroughs Foundation. He shot his wife, you know. Should have shot himself. I asked for a signed photograph. Who of? His wife? Daniel stuck a Marlboro in his mouth and lit it with his brass-coloured Zippo. I had a silver one. I like the sound they make when you open them. So does everyone else. See appendix. Do you want to shoot a stick of pool? I had no idea where I'd picked up this questionable phrase, but he refused anyway. We often came to the pub and some sort of conversation happened. Honest. But sometimes I really hated Daniel. He would get me stupid drunk, looking at me sideways and laughing with his mouth stretched wide open, showing the sides of his gums an evil, gleeful punch, still sober as I swore helplessly at him. He could drink black money under the table. And one afternoon, I remember, we went to the off-licence 4 times. I drank 6 beers and he had 18 and smoked all sorts of crap. I was lying paralysed on the floor late on, and he swayed slightly as he stepped over me on the way to the bathroom. I couldn't be sure if it was him swaying, my vision going, or just the world ending again. The jukebox played some David Bowie songs. People in the pub acted like they wanted to be there, as if their imagination stopped at the door, and we acted as if we didn't want to be there, but we didn't have such good imaginations. Well, wait a minute, that's assuming Daniel knew where he was by this time. Were you there last night at what's-her-name's? Who? Moira's? Yeah. Yeah, Stuart's sister was there. Oh, yeah? She says thanks for the book you gave her. Do you like her? I don't know. What book is it, anyway? The Trial. Has she read it? Halfway through it, she says she can't wait to find out what happens in the end. Jesus, tell her it's a fucking sledge. The old man was still sitting frozen in horror in front of his pint, working his gums like a cow chewing. I wondered if they'd let him sit there when the pub was shut, in the darkness, through the night. He was always there. One of the hags at the bar gave a loud cackle and shook a poodle at something a man had said, which he'd probably said 50 times before. The bar hag cackled too, customer relations. She'd probably heard it 50 times before too. The bar was filling up slightly, like bilge in a tugboat. The fat barman worked off a couple of pounds de-topping bottles for some more losers with no faces. A couple of lads went in the back to play pool. Not much happened in these places. Not much you want to remember. Once when we were there, a drunk had come up to me and Dan. Do you like jokes? He'd said. No. He held out a photograph to us, a faded snap of some healthy young soldiers in the jungle somewhere, far away and long ago. They're all dead now. Dead. Do you see? I fought for you, you know. What was second prize? He stared at me as I regretted myself, with the drink slopping behind his eyes until I thought I couldn't stand it any longer and he was going to hit me or something. Then he turned around and went back to the bar. The CD on the jukebox started skipping, repeating a short phrase over and over again. One of the pool players started banging the thick end of his cue against one of the speakers on the wall until the barman turned the jukebox off and on again. Someone in the bar made a comment and everyone cackled loudly again. They seemed to be happy enough, I don't know, in their way. Wasn't my way. Bloody George Orwell, I said, for no reason. Let's smash the state, Dan. That's what we'll do. We'll be like a group of ideologically indisposed desperados. You know, except we won't kill anyone. Like a kind of alarming group. The Inconvenience Front. What? Incomprehension wasn't really his fault at this stage. I have a plan. I was making it up as I went along, can you tell? What? We can burn everything. Can we burn everything and not kill anyone at the same time? You don't care, do you? No, but academically, how can we do it? Wait till everyone's out. We can start with Stockport County Ground on a Saturday afternoon. We can burn down the Houses of Parliament during licensing hours. Bound to be empty then. But there's a 24-hour bar underneath the Houses of Commons, isn't there? They're always in there. Aha! Better to attack something abstract if we don't want to kill anyone, even politicians. Daniel's doing that thing again, up and running with my idea. The intellectual base, you mean? Burn all the televisions. No, the knowledge, the theory of how things work. It's all written down, isn't it? All that stuff, rights and democracy. It comes from books and the Greeks. And if we destroy all knowledge of the way stuff works, all the justifications and sources and proof, and there'd be no reference framework. This was a philosophy phrase I worked into my conversations every chance I got. And they wouldn't remember how to build nuclear bombs and things. The next generation wouldn't inherit the knowledge of the previous generation. They'd have to start again, like the New York grid story. Yeah. What's that? The Marxists say that the forces of history push knowledge onwards. There are no geniuses, only people in the right place at the right time who inherit the flame and take up the baton. And if they don't know what's gone before, they can't. We can destroy history. We both took an excited slurp of beer and puffed on our cigarettes. Wow, I said. Hegel's going to love us. It won't work. Why? We don't have a thing. A what? The what thing? The skills. A bad workman always blames his tool. Yeah. And a really bad workman always makes sure he's got a bad set of tools in the first place, because the chances are he's going to fuck it up anyway. How can we burn all the books in the world? Get a Fahrenheit 451 machine, or burn all the library catalogues in the world. That'd upset Bertrand Russell anyway, especially if his jazz mags were in them, if he wasn't dead. Now, Joe Orton used to get books from the library and then change the sleeve notes into obscene versions of the story in the book. And his lover beat him to death in a bedsit. You always get what someone else deserves. Dan got up and fetched more drinks. I said, burning all the little libraries we could leave up to our revolutionary selves when the idea catches on. We need to start with a grand gesture, a statement of intent. What's the biggest library in the world? The Bodleian in Cambridge. I thought it was in Oxford. Never mind, we'll touch them both. And the reading of the room at the British Library, if we can get permission. Haven't they moved that already? Have they finished that? I thought there was a train strike. It's all on microfiche anyway. We can get someone to invent a computer virus for all that stuff. When we start, there'll be such a scramble to record it all on disk or something that the virus will spread before they've checked it, like AIDS for books, ISBN positive. Dan lit another Marlborough. We could save Salman Rushdie's life if we burnt all the copies of the Satanic Verses. Let's not go crazy.